everybody, Dr. Tammy here. Just a little fun little Sunday video for you. I posted a post about medical marijuana and asked you guys what you thought about it. I got a ton of responses, and you know, to me, whenever I post those sort of triggering kinds of things, I just love that you all are thinking and that you're not just taking, you know, disempowered information or myths and just processing them. And sometimes I do see a little bit of that. So I want to give you the real science facts and help you understand what is marijuana. There's so much, you know, there was propaganda that was created in the 50s and 60s that just scared everybody about marijuana and what it is. And so, you know, we consider it like this gateway drug, and everybody's just terrified that it's going to create, you know, these kind of Mexican drug lords in our schools. And, you know, who knows? All of that's probably potentially possible. I just want to give you the nerdy science so that you actually have the facts. So when you start slinging those thoughts and those responses, which I love that you do because it just makes you, you know, part of who you are, that you are actually empowered and you have the actual nerdy science behind things. So I'm going to start with the 5 things, the 5 myths, and then I'm going to tell you some other things that you probably don't know about marijuana. And one of the first myths is we all make marijuana in our bodies. We make what's called endogenous marijuana. I'm going to explain that in just a minute. Number 2, we all need marijuana, and I'm going to explain that in just a minute. Number 3, we would die without marijuana. And number 4, it's already legal in all 50 states. I know, you're like, this lady's crazy. So I'm going to explain that to you. And number 5, you probably have it in your home, most likely right now already. So, okay, let's talk about number 1. We all make marijuana. There is something in our bodies, and this is based on over 23,000 peer-reviewed medical journals. This is actual science. So if you go in and you actually look at the science, and you don't just take people's word for it and all the propaganda and fear, and you actually look at the science, this is the nerdy science behind marijuana. 23,000 studies, okay? Back all this up. So this is not just me making up stuff. And you know me, I always tell you stuff based on science. I don't just kind of go based on, you know, this might work or this might help. It's nerdy science. We all have something called ECS, or the endogenous cannabinoid system. And in this system, this is our own cannabinoid. And cannabinoids are natural things made by the marijuana plant. So kind of like with hormones, you know, we have hormones in our body. So when people say, I can't take hormones because they cause cancer, which is total crap, that's a whole nother video. You have hormones in your body right now. You would die without your hormones, but you can take exogenous hormones. So you have cannabinoids in your body right now, and you can take a plant or a phytocannabinoid. You can put that in your body, but whether you do or don't, you already have cannabinoids in your body. Okay. So here's what cannabinoids do, basically in this system. They regulate homeostasis, they regulate sleep, mood, hunger, hormones, pain, and your immune response. Huge, huge, huge system. And I don't even think I've got metabolism on here. They actually came out with a medication just a few years ago that triggered this cannabinoid system, and it decreases the appetite. So it increases the metabolism, and it's used for weight loss, and we already prescribed that medication. And if you're interested in that, we can talk about that in my office. But anyway, or you know, we can do another video on that. But basically, you have this endogenous cannabinoid system. You have receptors, just like with hormones. You have receptors. You have these CB receptors. CB1 receptors are in the brain, the central nervous system, and the CB2 receptors are in your immune system. And the natural cannabinoids that your body makes, just like the plants make the cannabinoids, are 2-AG and annabinoid, which are the main CBDs. Now, there are 85 different cannabinoids in the cannabis plant. So when we talk about the marijuana plant, we're talking about the cannabis plant, which is not the same thing as a hemp plant. So people are always like, oh, hemp is bad, hemp is okay, you know, I mean, it's like completely different plant. Basically, they're cousins to each other, kind of like flowers can be cousins, but completely different plant. But hemp does make a little bit of CBD, which is not psychoactive. Now, there is one psychoactive. When we say psychoactive, it makes you hear and see, and all the things that we equate to smoking marijuana and getting high, man, all that kind of euphoria and that kind of stuff is related to a compound called THC. And THC is really the main one that creates that kind of brother love, and we think of the 70s and Peace Men and everything. So THC is really a big part of the cannabis plant, of course, and that's why people want to smoke it. And of course it helps regulate some, like hunger, they get the munchies and stuff. There are literally thousands of different strains of the cannabis plant, and some have more CBD and some have more THC, and some will make you more high, and some make you more what they call stoned, and then some will make you more, see things or hear things, or some will make you want to work out, and some will make you hungry. Some work really well for different medical reasons, and some work well for sleep, so we prescribe those based on sleep, and some work good for mood, and some work good for hunger. So we can prescribe medical marijuana for different things. So I'm going to talk about medical marijuana here in just a few minutes, because I actually went, Arkansas just got approved for medical marijuana, and I'm going to talk about what the logistics are for Arkansas, because I went to a legislative meeting to get those answers, because I didn't even know myself. So I'm going to tell you about that meeting here, so if you'll stay to the end, I'll tell you what I learned there. But here is the basics, that we all have this in our body right now. So number one, we all make marijuana all the time, or we make these cannabinoids, right? Now, the hemp plant makes specific cannabinoids. They call them CBD, which is like CBD oil. So you hear about CBD oil, which has a lot of medicinal healing, anti-inflammatory properties, used for back pain, chronic pain. So CBD oil in many states is, quote, legal. All of it, literally, we all have this cannabinoid system, so it's legal in all 50 states because we're all making it. We're making it in our bodies every single minute of the day. Now, the plants that we grow might not be legal to smoke or whatever in certain states. So when I say that it's legal in all 50 states, I'm going to kind of skip to number 4. There is a form called Marinol, which is an oral form, and it doesn't really have much THC, but it's got mostly the cannabinoids in it, that we have been prescribing for cancer patients since I've been in medical school. So I've prescribed oral marijuana for patients for years. Now, what is up for debate and the legality is the smoking of it and the selling of it through what we call dispensaries. And to me, that is all just financially driven. It is by, the legislators and the tax makers and to me, it is all about the dollar. So if you're going to get in an argument about medical marijuana, know the facts and know what we're up against. And one of my fears is that these plants that are being grown in these dispensaries is that if big pharma or big tobacco gets a hold of that, will they start putting the addictive substances in it like they do with nicotine? Will they start making it where we get physically addicted to it with these toxins that are literally going to kill us? The actual cannabinoids won't kill us. They actually are good for us. So if they start putting those other chemicals like they did with tobacco to kill us, that's bad, right? We don't want that. So I think you have every right to get involved in legislature for those kinds of things and to speak out for that kind of stuff. We all need marijuana. We all make it. We are dependent on it for all these different homeostatic processes in our body. We make natural cannabinoids every single minute of every single day. And we would die without it. That is absolutely science based on 23,000 studies. I already said it's already legal in all 50 states because we make it endogenously. We might not be taking it in a plant, in a phytocannabinoid, but it's also been prescribed as the CBD or the cannabinoids as long as, like I say, I've been out of medical school almost 20 years now. So we've been using it that long and prescribing it in the oral form. And number 5 is you have it in your home right now. So you probably have a hemp product in your home right now. So you have cannabinoids in your home right now. You probably don't have THC because you probably get in trouble if you had some THC in plant form in your home right now. It's not approved for recreational use, and it's not gone through all the processes for the legalization of the medical aspect, and I'm going to explain that in just a minute. So I just think this is so incredible. So when I start hearing people talking out their butts and they start saying things about, marijuana and how bad it is, I have to kind of laugh, because I'm like, you have it in your system right now. You have a cannabinoid system in your body right now. And yeah, you might not be taking extra plant phytocannabinoids, but you have it in your body right now. So I think that's kind of funny. So you can kind of just, I can get, oh my gosh, they probably don't even know what they're talking about. Okay, so very, very interesting. So I hope this was kind of an eye-opener for you. And I want to talk a little bit about Arkansas and my understanding of the Medical Marijuana Act. So it has been recognized since we've been using it for, as far as I know, over 20 years in the oral form, the cannabinoids for nausea and for pain and for chronic things in the oral form. And the crazy thing is, Big Pharma has a hold of that. So those prescriptions are very expensive. So if you're like looking to just go to your doctor and get a script for the oral form, we're talking like $300, and most insurances won't pay. So it's like very cost prohibitive. So even cancer patients have a hard time getting it. So that's really not a good thing. And it doesn't have much THC, if any at all, in it. So people don't get high from those oral forms. But what's happened is that the state has recognized there are different forms and that there are different things that treat different medical things. And so they've decided to make it approved via going through your doctor and getting a medical card. So when I went to hear the legislator who was a big implementer in this whole thing with Arkansas, he was just a really cool guy. And he kind of told the story of how it came about and who he started working with, and just a very personable guy. I don't know him from Adam, but I really liked his intent in the whole process. I thought it was a good intent, and I go in skeptical in a lot of things. And what he said was basically that he had had so many people come forward and say that this really isn't a gateway drug to other drugs, being that people will use meth and things like that. This is more of a sedative type drug. And so it does help all of these different things, and it helps people not use those drugs more so than a gateway drug to those bad drugs. And I thought that was a really good argument. Now, you can make your own argument. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. But I thought that that was a good thought, that I've never really heard of anybody killing anybody over marijuana. Now, meth and heroin and cocaine and all those stimulants and everything, yeah, those people are wired for, war. And, you can have your own opinions about that. But, so anyway, he said we are not going to be like California, where you can just, they're going to be like, these little pot doctor signs popped up all over the place, like on the beach there. I remember when I was in Venice Beach, they have all these like big green dollar sign marijuana plant signs saying, come get your marijuana card. It's not like that. So it works kind of like chronic pain. So if you have chronic pain and you go to your doctor and you get narcotics or opiates, you have to be an established patient, you have to do drug screening, you have to have an established diagnosis, and you have to have monitoring. Now, the monitoring aspect is a piece that I think that probably should be thought out a little bit more, but really right now all they're going to do is do urine drug screen basically, and then it's going to be an established patient with established medical diagnosis that kind of fits some of these things that marijuana can help with, the exogenous plant can help with, and then it's an established patient. So it's not just like people are going to just be popping up these little shops and you can go in and any doctor for hire for $100 will give you your medical card. So it is an actual medical diagnosis, and there is a list of what we call ICD-9 codes, medical diagnosis, that fit this. So whether I think recreational should be approved or not is not for the subject of this video, but that's the way, I'm just saying these are the facts. So Arkansas has approved for those medical diagnoses that you can get a card. So one of the concerns is that people will get the drug and sell to kids and things like that. So there are only going to be a certain number, and I wrote it down but I don't remember, but it's like less than 5 grow barns basically in the state of Arkansas, and then there's going to be like 10 dispensaries in different towns and cities in Arkansas. So it's not like it's just going to destroy our towns and it's going to be marijuana everywhere and everybody's smoking marijuana everywhere. It's not like that at all. So it's going to be just a few dispensaries. Well, one argument, they were afraid that you know, all the big guys with money were going to kind of control these dispensaries, you know, and so really the number of dispensaries was to keep that kind of chaos down, I truly believe. And they are not going to be owned by the same people, and you have to kind of petition through your ability to run a business and have a business plan. And so you kind of petition the state if you want to have those different businesses or dispensaries. And doctors can't have dispensaries. So doctors like me won't be writing the medical card, and it's called a medical recommendation. It's not even a prescription. We don't write prescriptions for the medical marijuana. We just say you have this diagnosis, and we think that that is a good use for the different strains. So then you'll take that medical card, you'll go to the office that be kind of like your driver's license or any other kind of medical or any kind of legal documents that you get from the state, and they'll give you a card, and then you can go in the dispensary. Now the people in the dispensary, unfortunately there's not a lot of regulation there, and most of the people have been growers probably under the radar for many years, and they know a lot about the different strains, and they'll be able to tell you medically if you have this condition, this strain is better for this, or this strain is better for that. And everybody's different, so your cannabinoid system may respond differently. So some of that is a little bit of trial and error, and there's really no exact science in that, which unfortunately, you know, not too cool. But there are classes that people can go to, and they can learn more about the different strains and what different things do. And I think that's very valuable for physicians who are going to be writing those to really know what those strains are, so that they can help the patients and tell them, hey, yeah, I'm just giving you your approval, and here's the strain that I would recommend for you. But right now, I'm not really seeing that. But that would be an ideal type situation. So anyway, then the process, I think it's supposed to come about like in June or July, where people are going to start being able to get their medical cards. And then who knows how fast the dispensaries and the grow stations will crop up. But there's not that many of them, so it's not like it's going to be everywhere. And it's, in fact, pretty prohibitive. I don't even know if all the people who really would benefit from this are going to be able to get it with the limited number and the limited access to what's out there. So it's not going to be on every street corner, in our, you know, like in our schools, and people selling it everywhere. And people who actually need it for medical diagnosis, it's going to be so limited available through this system that they might not even be able to get enough. So I very much doubt they're going to be selling it. So people are concerned that they're going to be selling it to the kids or selling it through the dispensary. Again, it's going to be very limited, and it's probably not going to be as inexpensive as it was, quote, on the black market or the illegal market. And so it's going to add a little expense. There are some benefits. You know, the state, the revenue, they actually make a lot of money. Colorado has made a lot of money, and they have put it back through the tax system to the people. Inroads in schools is my understanding. I don't know, I'm skeptical of all that stuff, but hey, it sounds good, right? That's what they tell us. So I mean, I'm assuming positive intent, because that's what I do. So I think there is a lot of good that could come out of this. So before you start going and you start saying marijuana is bad or cannabinoids are bad, please consider for a minute that you have an endogenous cannabinoid system within you right now. So before you go judging it, know your facts. I love you all very much. I hope this was fun and informative. If you stay to the end especially, please click share. Have a fabulous Sunday afternoon. I do these videos every day, and I always try to share information. Knowledge is power, and you can have the most empowered, lovely life and body, and I just want health and healing and wellness for you in every aspect. We are starting our show on national affiliate KNWA Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock starting April 1st. Please tell your friends. Start sharing the word on Facebook. Me and my lovely little husband, just a cute little love snuggle bear. He's so fun, and we've already filmed our first 4 shows, so they're in the can and they're ready to go, ready for you to watch and be enlightened, educated, and entertained, and empowered. All those E's. I just love you very much. Please have a great day, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.